There's a reason why some women are never forgotten, even years later. It's not just what they gave, it's how they carried themselves after they gave. And if you've ever wondered, why do people pull away just when I've given them everything? What am I missing, even after all my love? This video will gently walk with you through 7 powerful shifts, each one designed to bring you home to your peace, your worth, and your quiet magnetism. But shift number 6, that's the one most women never reach, because it asks you to let go of something very old, the need to be seen, to be thanked, to be recognized. And when you let that go, everything changes. Stay with us until the end. You'll understand why you've always deserved more, not from others, but from the way you see yourself. We've lived long enough to understand this truth. There's no such thing as a perfect marriage, no flawless love, just relationships that grow and people who choose to stay through the mess, not just the magic. Some days were soft, some years were stormy. And through it all, you showed up, even when it wasn't easy. You loved, not because it was always returned, but because it was who you are. And maybe along the way, you gave a little too much. Maybe you forgot that you matter too. But here's the beautiful part. It's not too late to remember. Because true attraction, the kind that lingers, doesn't come from being perfect or giving endlessly. It comes from something quieter, deeper, from self-respect, from inner peace, from the quiet strength of someone who no longer begs to be chosen because they've already chosen themselves. You don't need to prove your worth anymore. Not through patience, not through sacrifice, not through holding it all together. You've already proven enough by how you loved, how you endured, how you kept showing up. And now it's time to return to yourself. Because when you stop waiting for someone else to validate your value, when you start living again, not for approval, but for joy, you become magnetic. You don't need to chase. You don't need to explain. You just need to stand in that quiet truth. You are enough, right now, as you are. And the moment you start honoring that, the people meant for you won't walk away. They'll find their way back. Not because you asked, but because they feel something in you that can't be replaced. Peace, strength, presence, and that is what makes you unforgettable. Shift number 1. From I hope they choose me to I choose me first. You've seen enough to know this. People don't always stay just because you gave them your best. You can give your love, your time, your care, and still be left behind. And for years, maybe decades, you thought, if I just give more, if I stay soft, steady, supportive, they'll see, they'll stay. Because that's how you were raised, to love fully, to commit, to keep the peace, even when it cost you your own. But here's what life eventually teaches us, often the hard way. People don't always value what's freely, constantly available. Not because they're cruel, but because they stop noticing what's always there. You've probably lived through it. Maybe in a marriage, maybe in motherhood, maybe in friendships that quietly faded while you kept showing up. And then one day, something in you shifted. A quiet voice rose up and said, "What about me? What about your needs? Your space? Your voice?" That moment, when you stopped asking to be chosen and started choosing yourself, that wasn't weakness, that was wisdom. Because here's what we know now after all these years. When you honor your peace, people feel it. When you stop over-explaining, stop proving, stop pleading, you become magnetic, not loud but steady. It's not about turning your back, it's about turning inward with love. You've spent a lifetime choosing others. Now gently, finally, it's time to choose you. Shift number 2. From figuring them out to expressing what you need. At this age, you've learned to read a room. You can feel tension without words. You've mastered the silent guessing game. Are they upset with me? Did I do something wrong? Why are they distant? You've played that game your whole life, and often you played it alone. Because you were raised to keep peace, not rock the boat. Stay calm. Don't ask for too much. So instead of saying what you truly wanted, you stayed quiet and hoped they'd just know that if you gave more, showed more love, stayed more patient, they'd see you, understand you, love you back. But now you see it more clearly. That silence didn't protect the relationship. It only left you feeling more alone. Because love is not guessing. It's not decoding every mood. It's not twisting yourself into someone easier to love. Love, real love, includes you too. And what if this season of life isn't about reading others anymore? What if it's about revealing yourself instead? Not to demand, not to guilt, but to be known, to be real, to say simply, I miss connection. I need a little reassurance today. I don't want to keep wondering what you feel. I want to understand it. This isn't weakness, it's wisdom. Because here's what we now understand. When we love ourselves enough to speak honestly, we teach others how to love us well. And that is far more powerful than trying to guess what's going on in their mind. And if this way of showing up feels unfamiliar, that's okay. You've been quiet for a long time. But just take a breath and follow us to shift number 3. You might be surprised at how peaceful life feels when you no longer apologize for needing care too. Shift number 3, from overgiving to honoring your space. You've always been the giver, the one who showed up, the one who remembered the birthdays, held the family together, kept the peace, even when your heart was tired. You know what it's like to pour from an empty cup. You've done it more times than you can count. Not because you had to, but because love, to you, has always meant sacrifice. But here's something we don't hear enough, especially at this age. Overgiving is not the same as loving, and self-neglect is not proof of loyalty. You don't have to say yes just to keep the peace. You don't have to fix everything. You don't have to be the one holding it all the time. Because if love costs you your rest, your joy, your health, your silence when you need to speak, your presence when you need solitude, then maybe it's not love anymore. Maybe it's expectation, or fear, or habit. And we know what the mind whispers late at night. I gave so much. How could they walk away? If that thought has ever haunted you, pause for a moment and ask gently, was it truly unconditional love I gave? Or was I quietly hoping to be seen, to be needed, to be valued back? Because if you needed love returned in a certain way, if you waited for a thank you that never came, if you felt empty after giving, that doesn't make you weak, it makes you human. And it might mean this: you weren't actually giving from fullness. You were giving from a place that still needed healing. Maybe, just maybe, love for you was always something you had to earn. And maybe that story started a long time ago, a time when affection felt rare, when attention had to be earned through effort. We understand that. Many of us carry those stories too. But now, we believe something else is possible. You can build a life that feels full, even if no one claps for it. You can learn to give without draining, to rest without guilt, to love without overextending. You are no longer a child reaching for love. You are a whole, worthy person who gets to protect her time, her heart, her energy. And if that feels unfamiliar, you're not broken, you're awakening. It's okay if this feels new, but walk with us to shift number 4, where we learn that strength doesn't always look like holding it together. Sometimes it looks like finally allowing yourself to be soft. Shift number 4, from proving strength to allowing softness. For most of your life, you were told to be strong. Don't cry, hold it together, be the solid one. And so you were. You showed up, you stayed quiet when it hurt, you held it all, for everyone. People may have said, you're so strong, you always know what to do. But maybe no one asked, are you okay? Do you need support too? The truth is, strength is not always about being tough. Real strength sometimes means saying, I'm tired today. I need a little comfort. I can't do it all. You've spent so many years proving how much you can carry, but now is the time to let yourself rest. You don't need to be strong for everyone all the time. You've already proven enough, just by being here, by surviving, by caring so deeply. So let yourself soften, cry if you need to, ask for help, say what's in your heart. It doesn't make you weak, it makes you real. And if this idea feels strange, that's okay. Many of us have lived decades without giving ourselves this permission. But let's try something new together. Take out your notebook. Write this down. I don't need to earn rest. I'm allowed to slow down. My softness is not a flaw, it's part of my strength. You might be surprised. When you put it into words, you'll see everything's not falling apart. There's no real problem, just a new way to see the moment you're in. The situation isn't the enemy. How we respond to it, that's where our peace lives. So take a deep breath, be still for a while. Give yourself something small, a favorite meal, a soft sweater, a gentle walk. Each time you treat yourself with kindness, you're learning how to love yourself better. Let's keep going. In shift number 5, we'll talk about letting go of control and learning to trust that life can still surprise us with good things, even now. Would you like me to write shift number 5 next? Shift number 5, from controlling outcomes to trusting timing. We all like to know what's coming next, to have a plan, a timeline, a little certainty. And after a lifetime of taking care of people, raising children, managing households, holding relationships together, it makes sense. You got used to holding the wheel, because if you didn't, who would? You became the planner, the fixer, the one who made sure everyone else was okay. But here's what no one told us when we were younger. Trying to control everything doesn't actually bring peace, it brings pressure. Because no matter how much you prepare, life will still surprise you. A loved one pulls away, a health scare shows up, a plan falls through just when you needed it to work. And in those moments, all that effort to hold it all together can leave you feeling frustrated, even helpless. But what if now, in this chapter of life, you didn't have to control every outcome? What if you could start learning to trust the timing instead? Trust that some people return when the energy is right, that healing takes its own pace, that some answers come only after stillness. Because life isn't a straight line, it's a series of seasons. There's a time to plant, a time to wait, a time to harvest, and a time to rest. Trying to rush it or grip it tighter won't make the flowers bloom faster. But trusting gives your heart space to breathe. You might have noticed this. On days when your energy is light, when you're happy, time flies. You cook, you walk, you smile. The day feels short. But on heavy days, when sadness fills the air, even 1 hour feels endless. Why? Because our inner state shapes how we experience time. So if the day feels too long, don't try to fix the day. Change your state. Write this down in your notebook. My energy changes everything. I can shift my day by shifting my focus. I allow joy, even in small moments. Then do something small to shift that energy. Play your favorite song. Step outside for 5 minutes. Wear something that makes you feel beautiful. Laugh at something silly, even if just a memory. You don't need the whole day to change. You just need one moment to feel different. And from there, life starts to soften. Let's keep going. In shift number 6, we'll explore how to live a full life, even when others don't see, don't applaud, or don't understand. Would you like me to write shift number 6 next? Shift number 6, from needing recognition to living fully for yourself. We want to tell you a little story, one that's simple but might quietly change how you see everything. Imagine we hold up a pen and we ask you, "What is this?" You'd say, "A pen." Now imagine we place the same pen on the ground. A puppy walks in, sniffs it, and starts chewing it. To the puppy, is it a pen? Of course not. To the puppy, it's a toy. So who's right? You or the puppy? The answer? Both. Because the pen isn't a pen on its own. It becomes a pen because of how you see it. It becomes a toy because of how the puppy sees it. This is what we call emptiness. Not that things don't exist, but that they don't carry fixed meaning on their own. Everything means something because of the mind that sees it. And this changes everything. A cold look, a quiet dinner, a forgotten birthday. They don't hurt because they are rejection. They hurt because of the meaning we assign to them. So when you find yourself asking, "Why don't they see me? Do they even notice what I've given?" We invite you to pause and remember the pen. Because just like the pen, you are not defined by how others interpret you. You carry your own meaning. And that meaning can change, gently, starting with how you see yourself. And with the people closest to you, the ones who may not understand, who seem distant or cold, instead of closing your heart, try this. Ask yourself, what do they believe about this? What's their understanding, their version of this situation? And suddenly you might feel something soften inside. Not anger, but compassion. Because once you see how limited their awareness might be, you'll start to realize they're doing the best they can from what they know. And you're seeing deeper now. So don't stop loving. Don't close your heart. Love them anyway, gently, patiently, quietly. Because one day, maybe not today, they'll remember the way you showed up, the way you never demanded applause, the way you stayed soft. And when that day comes, they'll understand. Until then, you get to live a life that's full, not because others finally noticed, but because you did. Shift number 7, from chasing love to becoming the presence that invites it back. There was a time when you chased love, even when you didn't call it that. You waited by the phone. You over-explained. You forgave too quickly. You stayed silent, hoping they'd finally see your heart. You gave more than you received, not because you were weak, but because your love was real. But somewhere along the way, you started to wonder, why do they only come close when I pull away? Why do they seem to return only when I stop trying? And the answer is quiet but powerful, because love doesn't come to those who chase. It comes to those who carry peace. When you stop reaching out from emptiness, when you stop trying to convince someone you're worth staying for, when you start living a full life with or without a response, you shift the energy completely. You go from someone waiting to someone glowing. You go from someone hoping to someone rooted. You become the one people feel calm around. Not because you force it, but because you're no longer waiting to be chosen. You've already chosen yourself. And yes, love will come. Not the kind you have to beg for, but the kind that sees you clearly. The kind that doesn't get scared when you speak your truth. The kind that wants to stay because it feels safe with you. But by then, you won't be waiting. You'll just be living. Watering your plants, writing in your notebook, laughing with friends, watching the light change in the afternoon sky. You will have become love, and love always finds its way home. And here's something gentle to remember. Instead of waiting for someone to show up, let your joy be what draws them in. Let your healthy habits, your soft mornings, your deep conversations, your kindness to strangers, your laughter, your peace, your hope, be the light they're drawn to. Because love doesn't always knock when you're watching the door. Sometimes it finds you through the life you've quietly built. So if you take just one thing from all 7 shifts, let it be this. You don't have to try harder. You don't have to become someone else. You only have to come home to yourself. Because the moment you stop chasing and start choosing with clarity and peace, you become the kind of presence people remember. Not because you begged for it, but because you embodied it. And that is what makes you unforgettable. You don't need to chase love to be worthy of it. You don't need to stay strong to be respected. You don't need to be needed to be valuable. At this stage of life, your greatest power is not in trying harder, but in softening, in choosing peace, in remembering you are already enough. Every shift you make, from overgiving to setting boundaries, from waiting to expressing, from doubt to calm, is not just for others to understand you. It's for you to return home to yourself. Because when you stop looking outside for worth, you begin to see. The life you've been longing for was never far. It lives in how you treat yourself, in what you believe about love, and in the gentle way you choose to stay open, even now. You've lived long enough to know there is no perfect marriage, no perfect love, no perfect timing, but there is harmony. There is unconditional care. There is peace in letting go of control and allowing life to meet you where you are. And maybe, for the first time in a long time, you're learning to give that same unconditional love to yourself. You don't have to fix the past. You don't have to wait for recognition. You just have to begin, today, to live as if your life is already whole. Because it is. If something in this video touched your heart, we invite you to take a quiet moment and share with us below. What shift spoke to you the most? What lesson in love or self-worth has life taught you lately? Your story might be exactly what someone else needs to hear today. And if you're still on the journey, still learning to soften, to trust, to stop chasing, know this: you're not late. You're right on time. So leave a comment. Let's grow together. One breath, one shift, one gentle truth at a time. And if you found peace here, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with someone who needs it. Because healing becomes even more beautiful when we do it together.